Hey guys, this is Dr. Colin Zhu, and thank you so much for being here with us on the Thrive Bites podcast. This is season 4, and we're so excited for you to be here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Colin Zhu, double boarded in family and lifestyle medicine, and I interview the best and most passionate health and wellness experts of the industry on this platform. And we talk about plant-powered living, emotional resilience, and creating a thriving mindset. And this season, we're taking it live, we're taking it on multiple platforms, and we're taking it as a Q&A discussion as well as our interviewing of our guests. So we're super stoked about this, and please remember to like and subscribe down below, and we will see you. Welcome to the next episode.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, and welcome to Thrive Bites podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Colin Zhu, and thank you so much for being here with us. You could be anywhere in the world, and you decided to join us today, and I'm very grateful. So I can't wait for this week's episode, and we have a very, very, very special guest for you guys today. And our episode's topic is what you don't know about diet and dental health. And today's guest is Dr. Nguyen-Chung. And I'm going to introduce you to her. She is a plant-based dentist based in Northern California. She serves the Native American population in her county and surrounding areas. Dr. Ann adopted the whole food plant-based lifestyle several years ago after learning that she had been diagnosed with multiple chronic inflammatory conditions. With this lifestyle, she has seen a reversal in almost all the conditions, and she continues to see improvements. Now, she's an advocate for plant-based lifestyle and incorporates plant-based nutritional counseling with her patients. And she's also the founder of Happy Hippo Plant Organics in 2017, which is a eco-friendly, all-natural vegan dental and body care company. The combination of her holistic plant-based lifestyle, love of animals, and passion to help fight climate change is how this company was born. So I am super, super excited. Please welcome Dr. Ann. Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much, Dr. Colin, for having me on your podcast, as well as everyone who is taking the time out of your busy day to join us. I am super excited to be here.
Well, thank you so much. We really greatly appreciate your time, your words of wisdom and your shared expertise. And I'm so thrilled about this, this topic, because there's so much we need to know about our own dental health. Mm-hmm. But this is even more super focused because it's, what we put in our mouths and how that relates to our teeth. And you would think that's a very simple concept, but I don't know if people pay that much mind to it or as mindful. So I think it's a very important topic to just get focused. Am I right?
Absolutely. 100% agreed. And so I guess I'll kind of segue into the presentation, but just to kind of piggyback on what you mentioned, thank you so much for the introduction, by the way. You are right. I am a plant-based eater. And when I adopted this lifestyle years ago, I hadn't really considered, even though I was on this plant-based journey on my diet, I never really considered what I was putting on my skin with cosmetics or personal hygiene products, which is why I developed this company called Happy Hippo Plant Organics. And when I had initially started journeying into this plant-based lifestyle, I learned how a lot of industries treat animals and the environment. It's not very good. And so I've developed such a strong respect for them. And so I actually started this last year when our clinic was closed down, and I had developed a rash on my lips. And I thought, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was my mask. I even worked with a dermatologist. Long story short, it turned out it was an adverse reaction to a lip balm. But I couldn't pinpoint what the ingredients were in the lip balm because there was such an extensive list of ingredients. And so I decided to make my own at home. And since all that time that I had, I found that lip balm cleared my skin. I wasn't sure if it was really the store-bought lip balm that caused the rash, so I went back and forth, and I did confirm it was the adverse reaction to the ingredients. And so the company that I have is not only good for humans, but it's also cruelty-free, vegan products, and all of our packaging is biodegradable, as you see, so that it's good for the planet. And moreover, a percentage of our sales goes back to plant trees all over the world. And so today, as a thank you, I wanted to offer you guys, listeners, a 15% off of my shop, which can be found in the bio in my page, my Instagram. And for the listeners, there's also a giveaway. If you answer a question, which I'll show you, and if you can please be a US resident only for shipping reasons, you win toothpaste tablets. These ingredients, I wanted to make sure that they were scientifically proven to remineralize teeth, and I'll talk about these ingredients later in the PowerPoint. You get biodegradable floss and bamboo toothbrush. So, hey! All right,
That's
guys.
awesome.
Thanks. All right, so going into the fun stuff today, what you don't know or may not know about diet and dental health. Now, the topics we will be going over today, there are tons of different topics that I could go on for days, but for time's sake, I'm going to hone in on the significance of pH and its effects on teeth, what happens when you add sugars to the equation, and some of my recommendations on how to preserve the integrity of your teeth. Now, I get a lot of patients who tell me, hey, doctor, I never eat candy nor cookies. I don't let my kids eat those things. They brush their teeth every day. Why are you telling me that I or my child has bad teeth? Well, while that is true, continue please eating that healthy food lifestyle because it's good for your body. But it is true, I still see individuals who do eat a healthy diet, have good hygiene habits, and still experience permanent tooth damage. I wanted to show you guys some of my foods that I eat on a regular basis. This is just lettuce wraps with vinaigrette, like a little vinegar dip, and fruit juices. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Vinegars, fruit juices. The toothbrush and the floss just kind of signifies those who do have a good home care at home. All right, so here is my trivia question for you guys. Whoever can answer this first gets to win this dental kit. What is the hardest tissue in your body? Is it the skull bone, the kneecap, the scapula,
Oh man,
enamel, dentin, or the femur bone?
I feel like we need to have the Jeopardy, theme song in the background.
Oh man.
Then I would run into copyright issues, and I can't have that either.
Well, or you guys can comment later too if that's okay if anyone's shy.
We'll give like 15 more seconds. So
okay.
Just for. This would suck if every multiple choice growing up in school had 6 choices.
You get one out of one in 4.
Yeah. Because back in the day it was just A, B, and C, and it's like it's always C, right? Or is it
I always
so guys, it's skull bone. What is the hardest tissue in your body? Skull bone, kneecap, scapula, enamel, dentin, or the femur?
All right. That's okay. We'll move on. There will be
take it away.
All right. So enamel has a very high mineral content, which actually makes it the hardest tissue in the body. And so oftentimes people don't realize that. People will tell me, oh, I was born with soft teeth. Well, your teeth are harder than your bones. And so it's actually a common thing that people don't realize. Now, why do we need to know about pH? Well, the foods that we eat, the foods that we eat on a regular basis have different pH levels that may affect our teeth. Enamel actually dissolves at a pH of 5.5, and dentin dissolves at a pH of 6.5. And so 7 is neutral. Enamel is this outer eggshell part. Dentin is this inner part, which it's not as hard as the outer eggshell. And then inside we have our pulp, which I call the heart of the tooth. It's got the nerve in there. And let's see. So any foods that we eat that are below 5.5 will actually demineralize teeth or cause the enamel to weaken and become more susceptible to decay and damage. And on the flip side, alkaline foods or basic foods can actually help remineralize teeth, allowing enamel to become stronger. Now, in this case, you can see erosion that has already broken through the enamel and then into the dentin. And now, sorry, folks, once you get to this point, there's no going back. You can't remineralize this. There's nothing that will remineralize this, regardless of what. Yeah. So it has to be addressed professionally. But, on a microscopic level, if you haven't gotten to this point, teeth are pretty resilient. You can remineralize teeth by increasing the pH, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. All right, so here are some common foods that we see on a regular basis, right? So this is our pH scale. Again, 7 is neutral, right? And I have a star here because this is where teeth start to dissolve. Remember, 5.5 is where enamel starts to dissolve or melt away. Dentin, that inner layer, it doesn't take much. It's at a 6.5, and so not really far from pH of 7 is where you'll see dentin start to dissolve. But you have to first break through the enamel. So really focus and know what the foods are below 5.5. So common foods, if you're a coffee lover, which has a pH of 5.5, that is acidic. And that 5.5 is the critical point at which enamel starts to break down. And so if you're drinking that every day, multiply that by year after year, that can do a lot of damage if your mouth is just constantly bathed in acidic environment. Same with fruits, tomatoes, lemons. I have a lot of patients who are unfortunately lemon suckers, and so that is really bad for your teeth. I was a warhead and gobstopper lover as a kid.
Warheads, oh my God, I love warheads.
Are you still? Oh no.
No, not still. Not still.
Okay.
Not still.
But we grew up with this, and
yes.
I remember having contests with my friends to see how long how many you can have in a short amount of time. Who could win?
Oh, you mean like actually stuff,
Yes,
like that,
yes.
like the marshmallow game, right? Like how many marshmallows you can fit in your mouth, right?
Yes, yes. So it's a stupid game. Don't play it. But it is so close to battery acid. I mean, that's close to stomach acid. That destroys enamel. A lot of
warheads. Oh my God.
Warheads.
What does sodas fall in? Sodas fall in.
Soda is 3. Gatorade. So a lot of parents say, I don't give my kids sugar. Do you give them Gatorade? Yes. Well, Gatorade has a pH of 3, which is pretty acidic. Vinegars. So if you're a vinegar lover like me, vinaigrettes, I see a lot of plant-based people with erosion because of that diet. And then a lot of processed foods also fall into this very acidic group as well. You see a lot of microwave foods, sugar drinks, and check this out, even carbonated water. So if you see regular flat water is about 7 in pH, but then when you add in the carbonation, there's a significant difference in pH. Yeah.
It sucked when I learned that after the fact, after I bought my SodaStream, and I was like, oh, why?
It's so good.
And also for people who are from the South, we also mean pop, because from the North we say soda, but I know we might have people from the South, so it's also pop. So
yes, that's right. Yeah, that's what I grew up calling it in North Dakota. We would call it pop. Yes.
Oh yes, exactly. Yes. So would you say, so just to kind of interject real quickly, like what about bypassing it using a straw? Would that help?
Well, I was gonna talk about that later in a later slide. So yes, there are ways where I don't discourage some of these foods just because they're bad for your teeth, but there are things that you can do to definitely help minimize the damage to the teeth because they're still good for you. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Because vinegar, I'm not going to stop eating my vinegars. I love it. Chocolate, I'm not going to stop my chocolate. That's supposedly acidic.
I can't eat a salad through a straw. Like we're gonna have to figure something else out. All right.
Well, Dr. Cullen, thankfully, salads are on the alkaline side. So a lot of our leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables are going to be on the basic side. And so avocados, kelp, kale, spinach, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, zucchini, all those things are alkaline foods that will actually remineralize and strengthen teeth because of the minerals that they have. So I will talk about that in my later slide. I see this a lot in patients. This is what a healthy tooth looks like. Slight erosion, if you can imagine, if you're drinking that coffee day after day, year after year, it kind of bathes the tooth. And on the tops of these teeth, you see these little craters because when we bite together, those are typically the first surfaces that get worn down. And this would be just years of it, or depending on how much acids you consume, whether it be from foods or medications. I do unfortunately see this quite a bit in my patients. Now, some real life examples of tooth erosion. In this picture, you can see that the erosion is isolated more so in the molars, and this person probably just eats it. They might not be someone who drinks a lot of acidic things, but they definitely eat a lot of acidic foods, maybe vinaigrettes, fruits. So you can kind of see the yellow dentin showing through because the enamel's that white eggshell color. And then this one is likely someone who could be a lemon sucker. And I do see this type of pattern right along the gum line for people who brush their teeth right after eating something acidic. So acidic things, they cause teeth to be very soft. You definitely want to wait to re-neutralize the pH in your mouth before you brush, because you can be permanently eroding away your teeth with a toothbrush, especially if you're an aggressive brusher. This person also is likely, has an acidic environment, whether it be through GERD, acid reflux, but also probably a combination of grinding habits. So that could definitely accelerate the damage. You see how short the teeth are. He's probably taken away almost a third, maybe even half the height of the teeth. Yeah, and this person, unfortunately, they've eroded their teeth right to the pulps. You saw in that picture earlier, yeah, they passed the enamel, the dentin, and now the pulp. And here you can actually see a little abscess where bacteria is able to now enter.
Oh wow, yeah. It almost looks like they just took a nail file and just filed away their teeth.
Yeah.
What causes the spaces in between?
These spaces, sometimes it's just the way the genetics of the person, they have spaces, natural spaces in the teeth. But for this person, this one, for example, he used to have wider teeth. So if you can imagine if the teeth were a little higher, they were wider. And so when you start, teeth are a lot narrower. You see this right here, Dr. Cullen. See how it's wider here at the top, and then towards the bottom it's thinner. And so when you take that away, sometimes that will make the teeth look like they have spaces. But in this case, they probably were it's just how their teeth are, so it's
gotcha. Awesome.
Different reasons. Some more cases, I see them in patients with eating disorders such as bulimia, or patients with acid reflux, chronic reflux. This person probably brushes right after eating or drinking something acidic. Medications can also cause acid erosion because of no saliva, and I'll talk about why saliva is important in a little bit. All right, so symptoms and consequences of dental erosion. As you saw, dental erosion is a permanent condition that occurs when acids basically melt away our enamel and dentin. And if left untreated, erosion can lead to increased tooth sensitivity, just because the nerve has less of an insulation from the outside environment. You see tooth discoloration, cracks, chips, divots. It can cause more susceptibility to tooth decay in the presence of bacteria. So erosion is not the same thing as tooth decay. You have to have bacteria in order to have decay. Some other consequences is that it can actually impact your speech. So here's a good example of see how the teeth at one point were full, and when the teeth are eroded away, it collapses the bite and it starts to put a lot of tension on the joint here. And so you can see it can change the face shape, how that guy has a kind of like a moon face, where it should be straight up and down. So that puts a lot of tension on the jaw joints. It can also affect airway because of
the TMJ, for those that are audio listening, the temporal mandibular joint.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. So it can cause all these imbalances. It's not just the mouth that we're concerned about, but everything's connected. It's connected to your muscles in your head, your jaw joints, your spine. It can cause headaches, and it also can cause decrease in self-confidence, and that's no fun. So overall, I do see that those who do eat a whole food plant-based diet, especially those who consume primarily greens, tends to be more alkaline and better on teeth than people who eat more processed foods or foods that are high in meats, because meats can be acidic. It's still advised that you are mindful with vinegars, juices, and natural fruit, especially natural fruit. Like I said, I get a lot of parents who tell me, "Hey doc, I don't give my kids candy." I said, "Do you give them a lot of fruit snacks, a lot of dried fruit?" It's like, well, yeah. Well, the problem, I wouldn't say yes. The problem is these dried fruits stick on our molars. And if you can imagine that acidic environment with the sugars, they start to break down the enamel, and that stays on there for hours. And if that's not brushed off properly, that's gonna eventually make holes in the teeth. Same with juices, it's bathing in the mouth. And so my recommendation is to eat foods that are high in calcium and phosphates. Why? Because these minerals help to remineralize teeth and strengthen teeth, and they're also good for bones. And the good thing is that a diet that is plant-based tends to be overall high in calcium and phosphates. And so foods like kale, Swiss chard, that actually has the highest calcium content of all the vegetables, and they also contain phosphorus. And my toothpaste tablets actually have those ingredients, which is very important in remineralizing teeth. Foods such as legumes, nuts, seeds, quinoa have phosphorus, so that's very good as well for remineralizing teeth. Kale, Swiss chard, tofu, black-eyed peas, almonds, those foods are high in calcium. There are lots of studies out there that show plant-based foods can, and I'm not talking about just any plant-based foods. I'm not talking about juices or cranberries. Those will definitely decrease the pH in your mouth. But I'm talking about, fennel seeds, just certain minerals in these foods that cause pH to be increased, which decreases the chances of tooth decay. So just for the sake of time, in summary, in this study, they found that this group who chewed fennel seeds saw an increase in the pH in the saliva, which made them less susceptible to getting cavities. And again, there are so many other studies on that.
Dr. Ann, you're referring to whole foods versus like foods that are, more processed, right? Even though they are made up of plant ingredients. Is that what you were referring to?
Yes, absolutely. In my slide earlier, I did list some foods that were cooked for example, tomatoes, they have, like I think it was like a 5 pH. When you cook them, they tend to be a little bit more acidic. Even plant-based, if you cook vegetables, the pH becomes more acidic. So yes, so in this case, I am talking about intact foods, not, in their natural form. Absolutely. Yeah. Gotcha. Yes. So fennel seeds, they different reasons for why they were good in reducing the chances of cavities is that these happen to have calcium and phosphorus, and the pH is around 7 to 8. So lots of good reasons for remineralizing and keeping teeth healthy. And now what happens if you add sugars into the mix? Well, sugars, and I'm talking about natural, sugars, processed sugars, even in fruit, they are food for bacteria. And it does accelerate damage to teeth because, bacteria causes tooth decay. The particular bacteria that causes tooth decay is Streptococcus mutans. Now, dental plaque is that's yucky, gross, sticky stuff on your teeth after eating crackers or bread. It's that sticky film that forms in your teeth when bacteria in the mouth mixes with sugary or starchy foods. Examples of starchy foods could be processed bread, crackers, gummy bears, dates, and other dried fruit. The pH of dental plaque is 4. So if you remember, teeth start to dissolve at a pH of 5.5. And so if that dental plaque is on your teeth all day long, it's going to start to cause decay in your teeth. And so in just about in as little as 48 hours, the plaque will harden and become calculus. And at that point, you can't get that off with brushing. You have to get that removed from, in a dental office. And so just keep in mind though, once this hardens, you still have that bacteria that's hanging out, having a party in your tooth and gums, causing damage. And so,
Dr. Ann, what do you mean by it becomes calculus? We're not talking about math, right?
No, this is not meth. This is plaque. So at some point, that film that develops on your teeth after eating something sticky, starches, if that is not properly removed via brushing, flossing, it hardens and it becomes calculus. Yeah, so it's basically hardened bacteria plastered on your teeth.
Okay. So both of them, because I had like nightmares back in high school when I had to take AP calculus, and I thought you meant that. So this calculus is also bad as well. Okay, got it.
You're so funny. Yes, that's a bad calculus too. You're right.
For all the Asians that are watching and everyone who loves math.
Oh God.
Or may not love math.
Yep. So these sugars are converted into acids, which causes tooth to soften over time, causing that hole in the tooth. So it's really important to, just kind of be mindful when you are eating sticky and sugary foods. That's why brushing, flossing, just to kind of break up that bacterial cycle, to get rid of it. Otherwise, over time, if you're, essentially leaving that on for 8+ hours, it can do damage to the teeth. All right, so saliva, I wanted to also touch up on this, why it's important. Use this to your advantage. Most healthy people have saliva. Healthy saliva is approximately 6.8 to 7.4 in pH, which is the good, pH level for your teeth. Saliva naturally contains calcium, phosphate, and bicarbonate, which help to remineralize teeth. Bicarbonate is what acts as a buffer to maintain the healthy pH in our mouth. And saliva also contains special proteins that stop bacteria from growing in our mouth. But I do want to also mention that there are some people who unfortunately can't produce proper saliva amounts. And these patients, these severely dry mouth patients, I see it could be due to medications that they might be taken or certain medical conditions. So the management for that is just to make sure to stay hydrated, keep the water, and not carbonated water, right guys? No carbonated water in this case. regular water, just so that it flushes over the teeth and, rinse off that bacteria. It's good to sometimes use saliva stimulating rinses, such as biotin for cases that are severe. And for people who are really, really severe, I advise my patients to carry around a bottle of baking soda solution so that after they're eating, they might not have a toothbrush around. And plus, you don't want to brush your teeth right after eating something acidic, because remember, you can actually permanently erode away enamel. So having a bottle of baking soda to maintain that pH is really, really good. Now, why do I educate patients on nutrition as a dentist? Well, as you can see, food can affect teeth, oral health, which connects to the rest of the body. Dental diseases and abnormalities can cause pain. And unfortunately, diseases such as from tooth decay or gum disease, the infection can actually spread to other parts of the body. So it's really important to educate the patients regarding that, because oftentimes it does start with nutrition. Dental diseases can be expensive to treat. And again, it affects the function of the mouth, equilibrium of the jaws, bone. It can affect the way that you talk, the way that you look. Many diseases can be prevented, thankfully. And again, health often starts with the mouth. And so it's so, so important. So my takeaway message for today is keep the pH, the acidity levels in your mouth balanced. Don't stop eating the healthy, whole food, plant-based diet. Again, processed foods are generally more acidic. And now for those who do juice fasts, or, they love juice and fruits, that's okay. Thankfully, there are ways that you can kind of, modify your lifestyle, such as Dr. Cullen, you had mentioned, well, what if I drink through a straw? Absolutely. Drink through a straw, and try not to drink your juices. I have patients who would tell me, Doc, I love my juice so much, I actually swish the juice in my mouth so I could savor the taste. I'm like, okay, I get that. Well, the key is to, but you're just bathing your teeth in all those acids. So I guess if you
it's an acid bath.
It's an acid bath. So if you had to do that, I would just make sure you have your baking soda rinse right after, swish it, or just swish with regular water, because I do like to do lemon water every morning before eating. And even though it's diluted with water, I will always back it up with rinsing with regular water, not carbonated water.
What is the pH of a lemon?
There aren't very many foods with pH level of 11 in this. Let's see. Yeah, so ammonia, there's not a lot. I would say we typically, the foods that kind of stop right about 10, These chemicals are just kind of show you that there are things that are in that range, but we don't see a lot of foods. Not that.
Oh, no, I meant, my question was the pH of a lemon. Like
a lemon. I'm sorry, a lemon. Oh, that's a 2. Very, very,
wow. Okay.
Very close to stomach acid. Yeah. So yes. So even though
for whatever reason, I had this impression that lemons were more alkaline, but I guess I was wrong.
No, so you're right for the body. So it's different when your body metabolizes it. Fruits by themselves on the teeth at first contact, they're acidic. But once it's metabolized in the body, it makes your body more alkaline. So yes, there's a difference, which I do get that question quite a bit. So yes, you're right. For the body, alkaline. For the mouth,
I use lemons in so many different ways.
Yes.
So
yes, continue that. Just rinse your mouth with water. Don't brush your teeth immediately after drinking or eating something acidic. Make sure you just, if you have healthy saliva, let that neutralize your mouth, swish with water, get all the acids out, and then brush your teeth. What's really cool about cruciferous vegetables or fibrous vegetables, they can act as natural toothbrushes. And so I tell my friends, if you have a lunch, at work, let's say if I brought a lunch to work and I can't brush my teeth right away, I'll make sure I have a carrot or broccoli to be my last kind of munching food before I, finish up, because that can brush away any plaque, any yucky debris that would, anything that's sugary will attract bacteria, but this will actually push it away. So
it's like consuming a broom.
Yeah, yes, eat brooms, fruit.
Well, broccoli actually looks like a broom. So
yes, you're right. It probably looks like a broom for a reason, huh?
Yeah, there you go. Mother Nature is so smart.
So smart. So thank you so much. That wraps up my presentation. Thank you, Dr. Cullen, for having me. It was super fun. And thank you for everyone who took the time to participate. And you can feel free to search for me on Instagram or email me if you have any questions or comments.
All right, I'll just leave that up there. We're going to go into a quick commercial break, but just for those that are, we're still going to go into our Q&A. So, write down your questions. If you have any questions, we actually have a couple of questions waiting, a couple of comments, and I have a whole bunch of questions. And we're also going to announce the winner for the gift giveaway. So, so just stay tuned. Hey guys, this is Dr. Colin Zhu, and welcome to the Thrive Formula. I'm so excited for you to be here and to be just a little curious about what we do. If you know a little bit about my work, I created TheChefDoc in January 2017, and since launching it, I've written a book about thriving and hosting my podcast called Thrive Bites, where we've reached over 90 countries and counting. It's been a humbling and unexpected experience so far. The main driving force to create TheChefDoc was born out of the need to help others to combat chronic lifestyle-related diseases such as high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, inactive physical lifestyle, and simply not being able to cook healthfully. I noticed the same paucity and deficit within our medical school education and also within our medical training across the nation. 2020 for us, like the rest of the world, gave us a new set of challenges. Even with health disparities and racial injustice, I decided to look at things from a very silver lining perspective. And that meant, how do we become more resilient as a community? How do we pivot as a human species? Do I focus on me or us? With so many different people and different walks of life, I realized that we're more similar than dissimilar. And to cultivate a thriving mindset meant a lot of self-work, self-education, and practical tools, but also in conjunction with other people. I could not be where I am without the support and foundation of others. That means right now, more than ever, we need to be unified and we need to thrive together. Therefore, I decided to create this virtual summit experience, gathering and collaborating with over 45 speakers from different parts of the health and wellness industry to inspire, educate, and teach you the tools to thrive, not just in your own life, but also to those around you. And we will do this through the 5 pillars, what I like to call my 5 to thrive. Food as medicine, functional fitness, relationships, community, and resilience. I'm beyond ecstatic for you to be here, and the only question I would ask is, do you dare to choose to thrive in your own life? If you do, then come on in, let's learn together, and I'll see you inside. Thank you very much. All right, we are back. So number one, thank you so much for that beautiful presentation. That was awesome. Graphics and pictures always tell 1,000 words plus more, especially with, tooth decay.
Yeah.
So for those that are actually audio listening on a later replay, definitely check out the YouTube video and to actually see your presentation, because you definitely want to see the different kinds of examples of what happens when we choose these more acidic foods. So, again, thank you so much. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we have a bunch of questions. So I'm pretty excited. You have a few minutes to stay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Me?
So yes. Yes, you. So I'm going to announce, let's see, the person that answered. I think the first person that answered your question. So to remind people the question, what is the hardest substance, right? The hardest substance in your body, right?
Yeah, let me.
Yeah, it was I think it was the skull cap, kneecap.
There we go.
What is the hardest tissue in your body? The skull bone, kneecap, scapula, enamel, dentin, and femur, right? And this is for the giveaway. And from what I got, I believe only one person answered, but they were the first one. So I'm going to show them on the screen here. And do you see that?
Okay, whispering.
Someone answered enamel.
Okay, yay. Okay, cool. Cool. So yay, good job. You are the winner.
Yay! So this is Whispering Bee ASMR. So you will get the giveaway. So we'll definitely jot down their information and then send it to them. Okay. And a couple of comments. Let me see. So many questions. So one comment I got, someone recommended a book. I don't know if you read this, Dr. Ann, but off of Facebook, Melanie Elizabeth says she read Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Weston A. Price, DDS. The best book on the relationship between teeth and people's health and the best diet. He studied from traditional cultures all over the world, and that's at westonapress.org. Have you heard of that book?
I have not. I need to look into that.
Yeah, that one is a pretty thick book, and it's actually a pretty it's pretty good in terms of the author. What they did was they kind of went through, it's an older book, and they went through different kinds of traditional cultures, and what they found was their dentition was intact and healthier than westernized cultures, and he sought out to figure why. So definitely a good book to check out, and we'll get your feedback at a later date. So let's get some questions in. So the first one, I believe we've answered this, but I want to put up on the screen.
Okay.
So we have a lot of Nguyen's coming in. Lenny Nguyen asks, what are some things we can eat after eating acidic foods and before brushing our teeth? Eek! Exclamation point.
Okay. What are
because you had mentioned. So what I personally done is I would brush after eating the middle meal, right? So we brush, hopefully twice a day, right? And then I would brush after, lunch, right? But you are saying that that's actually not good because, I guess in a way we're accelerating that process because you're using like something physical to brush into the, is that, am I getting that right?
Yeah, only if you're eating something really acidic, like if you've just had lemons or, if you're eating a salad and you want to brush your teeth, that's fine. If you're eating, I would say if you're eating bread, something like really starchy, over time that does make your teeth acidic, but you can actually brush your teeth right after that. So I should clarify that if you're eating something really acidic, like if you like, I pretty much drink my vinaigrettes. I love vinegar so much. I'm like, oh, give me more of this.
Oh, you are sour. You like sour stuff, right?
I love sour stuff. And so I would say for people like me, would wait. But if you're eating something that's pretty dry, you can brush your teeth right after that. And if you don't have a toothbrush, snack on a broom, nature's broom, aka broccoli, carrots,
or if you can, then probably the easiest is to swish water or H2O. You said, right?
Yes.
How do you carry baking soda with you? Explain that one because you had recommended that one.
Yes. So for my patients with severe dry mouth or xerostomia, I recommend a water bottle that they carry with them. So just dilute baking soda with water in a glass water bottle or like a reusable water bottle, and just carry it with them in the purse or a tote, and just swish it, and then go to the restroom and swish it out and spit it out.
Don't swallow it.
No, don't swallow it. Yeah, swish and then spit.
I love it. For our audio listeners, they'll be like, "Ooh, I like that."
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, next question. again, I love all these Nguyen's coming in. So Brielle Nguyen writes, what happens if enamel gets thinner, ? And are veneers a good solution, ?
That's a great question. So when your enamel gets thinner, it can cause discoloration because for a lot of people, that inner layer, that dentin, is a little bit darker, and so people will notice, oh, my teeth look darker, and so people might choose to do veneers. It really depends case. You have to look at the sometimes when the enamel gets so thin that it changes the structure of your jaw, and it starts to put more stress on your jaw joints, and due to collapsed bite, we actually sometimes recommend reconstructive crowns and that sort of thing to rebuild up the teeth to where it's supposed to be. So
it's a case by case, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's more complicated than that. So, but good question.
Okay, cool. Good question. Good question. Let's see. L guy writes, I snack a lot, mostly dried fruit like dates for energy when I'm backpacking, ... So if I don't have time to brush, what can I do? Parentheses, that's backpacker friendly, ?
Okay, well, dried fruits are good. They're good for energy for sure. Again, the nature's broom, the broccoli or swish with water.
Yeah, they're light, they're backpacker friendly, you know what I'm saying? So,
xylitol too would be, stuff, gum with, if maybe broccoli might, I don't know how long you're backpack for. Maybe if it's like a month thing, they might get kind of moldy in your
I thought you were about to say broccoli gum. I was like, I did not know that was on the market, but
oh, maybe I'll invent that. No, no. So you can do. My toothpaste has xylitol in it. So there are fruits that naturally have xylitol. So things like that. They're not meant to be ingested in huge quantities, but things like that can actually help. Ward away bad bacteria. So stuff, gum.
Okay. Yeah, because he says, he writes, sometimes I'm out there for long term, like weeks. Okay. So maybe the xylitol gum, if you can get broccoli, depending on which stop you're at, if you're going for weeks, maybe you can find like a lodge, here and there. Another person writes, does green tea work as a after meal drink for oral hygiene? Yeah, where does tea, I guess there's many different kinds of tea, right? Depending on what you're brewing, but like, where do they fall in the pH?
Tea is actually surprisingly, green tea, that's a good question. I know black tea is acidic. Coffee, we know, has a pH of 5. I'd have to get back to you on that. That's a really good question. I do know that for a fact, Lipton teas or anything that's in a bottle, those are acidic. So it's good to rinse your mouth with regular water after drinking those things, or at least not let it bathe. Just drink it really fast. Don't bathe your mouth in it.
She writes the pH of green tea is actually 7 to 10.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. Well, thank you so much.
And I believe this is Kiyomi from episode 1.
Episode. I love your episode. Thank you for watching my
Hi, Kiyomi.
I love your story of how, yes, it's awesome.
She's great.
Yes. Oh,
so 7 to 10, so meaning like, so that way, like, if anything that might like off balance the acidic nature, she says you are welcome. Brielle writes again, she says, this is a little off topic to enamel, but is gum disease reversible, right? So we're talking about like what, gingivitis, recessions, right?
So yeah, it depends on, I guess, what you mean by gum disease. Now, if we're talking about gingivitis, yes, that is reversible. There, just like that picture I showed you guys, there with that tooth decay, when it hits a certain point, there's no, I mean, this is irreversible. But in terms of gum disease, periodontal disease, at some point, you can maintain it. Reversing it, yes, you can, as long as you get rid of the bacteria. Whatever you have, you might have the erosion, the recession might be permanent, but you can definitely get rid of the inflammation, because gum disease, how I know as a dentist, I'm not sure if this person is referring to that kind of gum disease, but gum disease is typically bacteria induced. And so if you eliminate the bacteria, stabilize the pH, then in theory, yes, you can reverse it, but whatever damage is done, some damage, unfortunately, is irreversible. Like bone, you can't really grow back bone, because part of gum disease does involve bone loss, which sometimes you have to use grafts to rebuild that bone. So it's kind of a yes and no question.
Yeah, so we gotta be very careful from the medical point of view. It's kind of like the liver. Someone drinks alcohol. There's a certain point where the liver can metabolize it, detox it, and then be able to kind of clear it. But there's a certain point where you can damage the liver so much that's irreversible, and that leads to cirrhosis. A different topic, but I'm using that as an analogy.
Good.
So. Yeah, these are great questions. So I'm going to read off a couple more questions that you commonly get. So common questions that you get is, parents often ask if my kid's teeth are going to fall out anyway, why do I have to worry about taking care of their teeth?
That's a great point. I had that philosophy growing up. I didn't want to, I was mom and dad, they know that I didn't like to brush my teeth as a kid. So the problem with that is that I wish I had a picture for you guys, but underneath we have tooth buds that are growing. And so tooth decay, when we lose teeth, for one, if we lose it too prematurely or too early, these little baby teeth serve as space preservers. And so if you lose teeth too early, you can end up losing that space, and you end up kids' teeth who have crazy crowding, and that could in turn affect, the functionality, the bite. I like to use the analogy of a car. We align our tires every so often, just so that everything drives nicely, wears evenly. Teeth are the same way. So if you keep them in good health and they're supposed to fall out when they're supposed to fall out, the wear on the teeth will be a lot better. Moreover, if you get a cavity and you don't address it, that infection can spread to other parts of the body. I actually recently had a case last year where a young boy had come in with tooth decay and wasn't able to get that tooth addressed, ended up in the ER and had to get Rosefen shot in the bum because it was a life-threatening, so antibiotics to
Oh, that shot hurts like a mother. You do not want to get that shot.
That was a life-threatening situation. So I tell my parents that, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll make sure we get our kid addressed." So that's why.
Yeah, no, for sure. Another question is, typically you would hear, my parents have had bad teeth, so I inherited bad teeth. Or I suppose the question would be, are bad teeth caused by genetics? That's a good question.
Yeah, I hear patients say, because my parents had bad teeth, I inherited it. So there is some truth to that. I would say, if I had to give a percentage, and now everyone, it's different. There are certain syndromes where patients are born without, or they develop teeth without enamel. Those are rare, but in most cases, it's not the case. It's usually, now cavities can actually be, can spread to one person to another because it's bacteria. So if you're sharing toothbrushes or spoons or cups, if that person has the bacteria that causes cavities, it can spread. And so usually, typically when you're in a family and you're sharing utensils, you can basically inherit cavities that way. Or you're eating the same diets that are highly processed in sugars, carbohydrates. So there's some truth in that, but it's not completely true. Without the bacteria, oftentimes, even if you don't have enamel, you can still maintain a teeth without cavities.
Gotcha. Time for a few more. Is fluoride bad for you? That's probably a very common question.
Yes. So, yeah, that's definitely a loaded question. Fluoride, fluoride has been proven to help. It's one of the minerals that actually remineralize teeth. Fluoride does actually occur naturally. Now, in the population that I work with, unfortunately, we do see a high prevalence or a high rate of cavities. Number one, a lot of water systems have fluoride in the water. In my county, we don't have that. I have prescribed fluoride toothpaste, because the benefits outweigh the risks. Now, studies have shown that too much fluoride can cause problems to the body. But in this case, you kind of have to look at it case by case. I chose not to have fluoride in my toothpaste, not because I'm against fluoride entirely. I mean, I think it is important in many cases, especially if that person is prone to cavities. But I just wanted it to be safe for children, because too much of it, when you're too young, can cause deposits in the bone and that sort of thing. But it has shown to reverse cavities and prevent it. So it's in moderation, minimal.
It is a loaded question because there's a lot of, I guess, controversy from my perspective about it. So where do you find fluoride naturally? Because you had mentioned that before.
That's a good question. I guess in bodies of water where they found where these groups of people, I'd have to find that source from you maybe a little bit better, but they've found where waters have fluoride, that group of people had less cavities. Why is that? And so later on, they decided, well, if that group had natural fluoride in the water, people decided later on to synthesize, to make it synthetically and to put it in the water system. And that has proven to show less cavities in that particular population. So it is out there in nature,
Okay. All right. So quick rapid fire, we're going to close out and you could just say yay or nay. Okay. Just some basic common questions would be, yay or nay to flossing.
Yay.
What about water picks? Yay or nay? Yay with a caveat?
Yay, because, okay, quick. Car wash. When you wash your car, you use a sponge to wash the bird poop and the sap and the sticky stuff. The hose is the pressurized, so the water pick is the hose. The floss is the sponge. Okay? So I tell my patients, water pick is not a substitute for flossing.
Okay.
You need that mechanical.
So water floss, yay. Water picks, half yay.
Well, yes, it's good. It's a bonus. But flossing, if you could do flossing and water pick, but if you don't have floss, then water pick is better than nothing.
Okay. Mouthwash, yay or nay?
Yay. It depends. It's a loaded question because some stuff has like weird.
Depends on what it is, right?
It depends. Chemicals. I'm not a big fan. Okay. Some have alcohol. Some people can't have it because of dry mouth. So it depends.
Yeah. We can go on to another episode. Tongue scrapers, yay or nay?
Just use the toothbrush. You don't need
it's
easy. I'm minimalistic. Yeah.
Okay. And we probably already answered this, but brushing 3 times a day, yay or nay?
Yeah, as long as you do it carefully, because aggressive brushing can, as you can see, can cause abrasion. So if you soft toothbrushes, yeah, brushing is always good, but it also depends on how much force you use. So just be careful that you're brushing nicely.
Okay.
And yeah.
So that probably answers my other follow-up question. Is there such thing as overbrushing? And I guess it depends on the intensity, right? So Dr. Ann, thank you so much for being here on the show. Can you, I'm going to put on your context. Can you put on your slide with the context really quickly?
Absolutely. And you guys, I just had to say, Dr. Colin is so amazing. I love the work that you are doing, Dr. Colin, with the Thrive formula. I told you earlier, all the work that he's put into getting all these different healthcare practitioners, these health experts, wellness experts, to teach everyone, because I could tell, Dr. Colin, you have such a passion to get the word out, and it's helping a lot of people. And so I just wanted to praise you and just thank you for all the time and effort that you put into this, and that you're continuing to do. So,
thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And thank you for the work that you do. And, I have another good friend, that's also, a dental, in the dental profession. And, surprisingly, you would think this is almost, almost common sense, but she also says, she's also a Nguyen. She also says that, there's not that much nutrition that you guys receive in school as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was just as surprising, because as medical professionals, we don't. And you would think, you guys are literally the gateway into, the health, into our body health, what I'm saying, and how everything is affected. So actually that interview is actually on my YouTube channel as well, Dr. Connie Nguyen as well. So guys, thank you so much. Do you have any parting last words, Dr. And please check out her company, her website. I put on her stuff again. You can find her at Dr. Ann Cartini and Happy Hippo Plant Organics. And thank you for the giveaway. That's very, very generous of you. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, well, thank you again to Dr. Colin and everyone for joining us. I guess have a great evening.
Yes. Thank you so much. We're going to play this outro video. Okay. And then, and we'll see you guys next week, next Wednesday, at 5 Pacific. So take care, everyone. Please say bye to Dr. Ann. Okay. Bye-bye.
Guys, thank you so much for watching that episode. We hope you enjoy it. And please remember to like and subscribe down below so you can get continuous updates for future episodes and future guests. And we can't wait for this upcoming season. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next episode.